listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak, and speaking of guests, for 22 years, Winnipeg's Dry Cold Productions has presented innovative and stimulating musicals to Manitoba audiences, believing in the transformative power of a good story. This season, they present the Manitoba premiere of Stephen Sondheim's Merrily We Roll Along, and to hear more about it, Dry Cold co-founder Donna Fletcher has joined me alongside cast member Catherine Wreford. Welcome back to Classic 107, both.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's so great to have you here on this Tuesday morning, Tuesday before opening tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah.
Donna, let me begin by asking, how are you feeling?
I'm pretty excited. Just getting the rights to Merrily We Roll Along was a miracle for us here in Winnipeg because it's prominently on Broadway right now, bringing in about $2 million a week with incredibly famous people like Jonathan Groff.
And Daniel Radcliffe.
And Lindsay Mendez. And so we get to do our Winnipeg version of it. We've produced so much Sondheim that the rights holders were very generous and said, okay, you guys can do it. So it's been a real dream come true. The show's a fabulous show, and I think audiences are going to love it.
I mean, you sort of alluded to this already, but the company has always been at the cutting edge of musical theater here in Manitoba, often securing first performance rights, if not in the province, then in the country, like last year's The Prom. This show isn't a new one. It premiered back in 1981, rather spectacular failure on Broadway, but Sondheim kept working at it, tinkering, seeing it through various revivals. One of the last things he was working on, I think, before he died in 2021.
Right. Yeah.
What do you think why do you think it took so long for this musical to find its footing?
It's funny. I think this show really reflects what we went through with COVID time, right? Like everybody re-examined themselves over COVID, and then we all came out of this crucible of COVID refired and reborn. And I think that's what Merrily is. I think it started as a wonderful idea that didn't quite go right. And then Sondheim just really loved the story so much, and people were so fascinated by the story of these three friends going backwards in time that they just kept being drawn to it because it's a story of redemption and possibility and what could happen in your life if you made different choices. And I think that's always a fascinating subject for people to deal with. And I think that's why it's still so much alive and it's become this cult favorite. And as we can see from the production that's on Broadway, which ours is like the same script, it's come and found its footing, and it's finally found the place in the canon that it should have.
This isn't always the case with Dry Cold, but this is a work that you also get to direct. That has to be an added bonus for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't directed for the company for a while just because we've been trying to give opportunities to other directors in town, emerging and established.
But you really wanted to do this one.
But I really wanted to do this one because I love the story so much, and I love the music, and it was one I wanted to sink my teeth into.
Well, speaking of new opportunities, Catherine, yours is a stellar resume, performances at the Stratford Festival on Broadway, a triumphant and inspiring win of Amazing Race that we last chatted about when you were here in studio back in February. This is your Dry Cold debut.
I know, and this isn't the first time I've worked with Donna. I was Liesel when she was Maria in 1996 at Rainbow Stage, so it was really fantastic to be working together again. But it's so interesting telling the story backwards because you have to remember what you don't know for every scene. So like we figure out, we go to the very end at the very beginning. So you have to realize like, okay, I don't know that this person did that and that this person did that. So you have to I sort of wrote down what do I know at the beginning of this? What do I know at the beginning of this? So it's you have to sort of remember, I'm not mad at her right now.
Yeah, we're friends. It sounds like a real puzzle of a musical, right? And I know that there's little clues and hints, even in the music, that are sort of inlaid by Sondheim, the genius he was.
Oh my, the more I listen to it and the more we go through scenes and we talk about it, the more I realize everything is a puzzle. Every single note and every single word is a puzzle that joins perfectly together. And
it's the final scene where that final piece of the puzzle's put in, and that's where you go, oh my goodness, this explains everything.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
So it's really quite beautiful
if you're paying attention. So I feel like people will need to come at least twice to see it to make sure that
why
they
not?
do.
Right.
We're gunning for that $2 million a week, right, Donna?
That's right.
Yeah, move over Broadway. Catherine, can you tell us a little bit more about the character that you'll be performing?
I'm playing Gussie, which she's kind of like the homewrecker. She has a lot of the same characteristics that I have, but not in the same way. She's a go-getter. She doesn't take no as an answer, which I've never taken no as an answer, but she goes about it in the wrong way. I don't want to give too much away, but she creates herself in the way she feels like people will appreciate her. And she's a Broadway star. She just takes and takes and takes, and it's hard because she doesn't give a lot either, and that's hard for me to play that because I'm not the same as that. But I take and I give. But so for her, she just kind of takes, and that's what she does. And it's
she sees
hard.
what she wants and she
sees what
takes
wants
it.
And she just takes it.
Yeah, she's very opportunistic.
Yeah,
right?
that's a good word.
Yeah, perhaps so.
And she's Frank's second wife, right?
Yeah.
So there's a
Second
reason
wife,
why
and
she's Frank's second wife.
Right, yes.
It is a very fascinating story. And like you say, I mean, what's so unique about this one is this whole reverse chronology that happens, right? I mean, the fact that we're seeing the story at the end, this is where we got to. And then it's a work that really sort of takes us back to the promise of youth, right? And all of the possibilities that provides to us. And sort of like you were saying earlier, Donna, that idea of looking back as we went through the crucible of COVID, which is a wonderful way to put it, looking back on what we could have done differently or maybe will do differently in the future, right?
Yeah, that's
do you find yourself sort of thinking about things that way,
That's
Catherine?
exactly what I think about when
All
I'm
the
doing this. When I
time.
get to the end and I'm like, here's where we begin.
Yeah. Again, I think for an audience, like there are some beautiful moments that will make you laugh, but also really make you think and go, gee, maybe I should contact that person, or maybe I should rethink something. And it lets you come out of the show sort of feeling a little bit reborn and washed, and you sort of go, okay, there's still an opportunity for me not to make the mistakes Frank made, or that Gussie
There's
made.
one line that Charlie says, nothing permanent has happened.
Yeah.
And I always think about that, like, okay, we can still make up for this, and it's like that line really hits me every time he says it.
I'm curious, you were talking about, previously performing with Donna and sort of reuniting now, a Dry Cold debut. Have you done much Sondheim, Catherine?
With Reed, I did Side by Side by Sondheim in grade 12.
No way.
That's right.
Was that at Kelvin or Grant Park?
Kelvin,
was it Kelvin?
Yeah.
All right. I thought, as a fellow Kelvin grad, that feels very familiar. Reed Harrison, co-founder alongside Donna with Dry Cold. So it's not something that you've done a lot of then, right?
No, it's not.
And I hope she does more.
I hope I do more too.
Exactly that. I mean, Sondheim, one of the greats, right? And when we look at Sondheim, there's so much that we can parse, but one of the things is the humanity that he presents in his works.
Yeah.
Donna, you've done plenty of Sondheim as a performer and as a director. What keeps you coming back to him and his musicals?
I think that's it. I think it's the humanity in the characters. All his characters are flawed. And often in musical theater, you have the hero, you have the ingenue, and they're all, they're perfect in their way. But his characters are real people. And I think that's why people love Sondheim, because we see ourselves in these characters. We see the flaws, we see the wonderful things. We see characters that aren't fully formed and that have histories and pasts and sometimes are messy. And I also love the humor in Sondheim. He's so funny. And the way, because he writes his own music and his lyrics, they marry together so beautifully that, you never feel that a word scans out of place when you're singing, and you can taste the inspiration and the ideas, and they just sort of flow out so beautifully. And I love the puzzle of his music. Like, I love how he uses a lot of motivic repetition, and so for me, it's just, there's a lot for an actor singer to dig your teeth into. And he also wrote for everybody, like from operatic singers to people who are just patter singers. And he had such a great understanding of Broadway that he could create something for everybody. So that's why I love it, because there's room for everyone in Sondheim.
And it's one of those that audiences love too.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there is just something like actor, director, audience member. There's something for everybody to really dive into and really embrace. Just while I've got you here, would you mind kind of walking us through a little bit of the cast who's going to be joining Catherine up on stage?
Oh my goodness, we have an amazing cast.
They're
Playing
amazing.
Franklin Shepherd, the lead is Josh Bellin, which is great having Josh back. Playing Charlie Kringus is Alex Menick. Playing Mary, their steadfast friend, is Gillian Willems.
Who I love.
Yes.
I'm her biggest fan.
And joined with Catherine as Kevin McIntyre playing her producer husband. And then we have and the rest of the cast is rounded out with Simon Mirren and Katie Sherman, Stephanie Schmidt, Nathaniel Muir, and the debut of little Nathaniel Mercer playing Franklin Jr. And he is
so cute.
A Sondheim fanatic at like 10 years old.
He knows way more than I do.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. So seeing him alone is worth it for the show.
Oh, it sounds absolutely fantastic. And I mean, Dry Cold has given so many actors opportunities here in Manitoba, established actors like Catherine, up-and-comers as well, right? And I mean, this is just such a unique opportunity to really dive into this wonderful world of musical theater. And the Dry Cold motto is where music meets theater, and that's exactly what you're presenting in this work. Running from tomorrow, the 22nd through the 26th at the RMTC Tom Hendry Warehouse. Tickets and more details available at drycoldproductions.ca.
Go to my Instagram. I put a post up there to get tickets.
And my
just
Facebook
this morning.
too.
All right, so exactly. And follow along on social media because it really is one of those shows that you should check out if you're looking for something to do this week. Shows begin at 7:30 p.m. There is a matinee on the last day, the 26th. Catherine, Donna, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you
so much.